YMCA over at the Holiday House Pool, if you're familiar with that location. And because no one paid attention and oversight with the YMCA, the building now that is there is unusable and has been fallen into disrepair because the YMCA didn't upkeep their share of the improvements on it, okay? So that's why we ask for the Historical Society to enter into a 5-year lease so that we can monitor and we can make sure that you're happy, we're happy. That's where we are with this situation.
It's fundamental.
It's fundamental. So my recommendation is we give a 60-day
Window.
We cannot do a thing without something in writing from the township.
Can do what?
Tell us tell us what your offer is. Put it in writing, put it on the table. We'll take it back to the general membership.
We were told you did already. We were told that the general membership said they were taking the building. Greg?
Number of us have been told.
Yeah, I have not seen the results, but I have been told that.
In writing.
The board is not the one. The
Writing.
board is not the one at blame here, folks. Let's make that clear. We've tried, and we are trying, and we will try, and we will go to bat for the Historical Society when they step up to the plate and sign a lease over there, so that we make sure that the building can be saved.
What are you gonna do financially? The township, what are you gonna do financially?
I'm not,
I would like to say that the board has financially put money into the James House almost every year with doing different things, whether it's the mold remediation, whether it's the roof, whether it's the foundation drain. You guys have put money in for maintenance to preserve it for long term.
What are you gonna do in the future?
It's up to the board.
What's the word, David? I've heard
The word
from,
is
direct from your people, the society.
gone. $90,000. That would've gone a long way to helping that house.
$90,000.
May I ask a question?
Well, if you really knew the whole story, which I'm not going to relate to you because it's personal and private for those who are being accused. That's a major misrepresentation, and you know it, and the people who are doing it know it. I'm not going to have any more discussion on that. If you want to talk about it privately, I'll talk to you. I'm not going to talk about it in a public meeting. But I've listened to you for 6 months, you and others, making all kind of crazy claims. And it's over.
let's move on.
I
Let's
have one
move on.
question, please.
She's
Let's
not on the
move on.
agenda. She's not on the agenda.
I'm allowed to ask a question?
No, not on a confirmed.
Not unless the board requests it.
Pardon me? Not what?
Not unless the
Under
board requests
confirmed
any.
appointments.
He's on a confirmed
it's-
appointment.
Okay, but last month, everyone asked questions after the confirmed appointment, so I thought I would be able to answer
No,
questions
there were,
relevant.
I didn't think so. I thought there were just a whole lot of people under
Oh,
confirmed
okay,
appointments.
What's your,
Okay.
All right, I'll wait, no problem.
okay, let's move on to committee reports. Park and Rec, Mr. Reese, by the way, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and That might
That way
help.
everybody understands
Yeah.
the fact. Hope everybody's having a good night, hope it gets a little bit better. I'm gonna try and bring it up a little bit with Park and Rec. I actually, we had a good positive meeting last Thursday night. A lot of good discussion. I want to first of all thank Bob for being the chair for the last, how many years? I appreciate all the efforts that you've given us and helped us. I know you'll be sticking around and helping out with Park and Rec, so I appreciate that. So I'm going to point that out because he's been the chair for quite a few years. We were fortunate this year to have two persons interested in chairing the Park and Rec because I believe a lot of people believe it's important. There's a lot of parks, there's a lot of space, a lot of open space, a lot of things we can do. Robbie Fisher and myself, we both were, Robbie wasn't there, I was, set aside so everybody can discuss it. I was nominated as, or voted in as the chair and Robbie as the vice chair. We're gonna work together, we're gonna do our best to make the Park and Rec more visible, more public, more front-facing so everybody can enjoy the parks and try and do more events, try and get more people involved. So I thought everybody was here for the Park and Rec, but apparently it's not. So I apologize. We do have open positions, so if you're interested, we do have some open positions. I can just give you a quick rundown, I'll just stop talking then. Suzanne Clark is gonna be our new secretary for the year, so I appreciate Suzanne stepping up. Suzanne. I'll try and make it real quick. We got a spring newsletter coming out, so you'll see that pretty soon. We got a couple bullet points that we have on the spring newsletter. We're gonna revise, we're gonna try and update the Veterans Memorial Plaque. So we're gonna try and do our best to get out there so we can have, we're gonna update the date of application so we know when they applied. Some of the criteria we're gonna change, so we let people know that past or present residents are eligible of West Rock Hill Township. Any branch of service, so any of the 5 branches of the service are eligible to be on that plaque. And it's free. It's free and clear. And our intent is to honor the veterans of the township that have lived here, served for our country. We want to honor them, so we want them on that plaque. We want their names on there and their date of service and all that stuff. So we want to, if you know somebody, they've been here, they've been a resident, even 50 years ago, it doesn't matter. They've been a resident, they've been in service, we want them here, we want to honor them. So that's what we want to do. We have some good discussions moving forward as far as getting visibility. I'm going to talk to Greg about getting some, some website, more public website information out there to the real world. We have a couple things coming up. We have a couple events coming up this year. We have Fishing Derby Saturday, April 20th. Put it on your calendar. Movie night, Saturday, August 24th. September Fest, as always. And I confirmed last night that Percy will not be having their Percy Day on our day, because it's September Fest, that's ours, just for the record. We did have, Maggie presented Healthy Kids running series. We looked at it, she gave us a lot of good information. Unfortunately, it seems like a huge commitment right now, so we're going to investigate a little bit further before we actually look to, maybe take on something of that nature. It's a little bit larger than we intended. We have a couple things going on, but other than that, it was a great meeting. It was 2 hours, a little long. We had a great discussion, though. I think there was a lot of positive feedback as far as moving forward for the 2019 year for Park and Rec.
Hey, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. You are going to give a little talk about just what you're doing to fix that backstop, or the
Yeah, it's getting next weekend.
next week, that the what's it
Yeah.
called, batting cage will
Batting
be all
cage,
correct.
correct.
Right, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Dave. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Thank
I'll second this motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats, Dave.
Thanks.
Sounded like you had a lot of energy there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, commission reports. Police. Evening, Tim.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Thanks for pitch hitting for the chief.
Yep. This is the report of the following information list of monthly activities for the Penridge Regional Police Department for the month of December 2018. Penridge Regional Police Department responded to 514 calls for service. Of those calls, 239 were in East Rock Hill Township and 275 were in West Rock Hill Township. The department handled 26 traffic crashes, 7 in East Rock Hill, 19 in West Rock Hill. 12 were reportable and 14 non-reportable. In regards to criminal activity, Penridge Regional Police officers responded to 2 Part 1 crimes and 30 Part 2 crimes, totaling 32 crimes. As we always say, Part 1 crimes are known as the index crimes or violent crimes. West Rock Hill reported crimes. There was 1 burglary attempted at a residence, 1 theft, 1 corruption of minors, 2 fraud cases of disorderly conduct, 2 criminal mischief cases, 2 trespass cases, a public drunkenness, 1 drug violation, 2 dog law violations, and 4 cases of ordinance violations. East Rock Hill had 1 assault, 3 narcotics possessions, 1 fraud case, 1 criminal mischief, 3 harassment, 1 dog law violation, and 4 ordinance violations. Criminal charges filed for December 2018. There was 1 burglary, 1 criminal trespass, 3 simple assaults, 2 harassments, 2 disorderly conducts, 1 public drunkenness, and 1 DUI. Officers conducted 193 traffic enforcement details and 17 traffic details on Old Bethlehem Pike specifically. Officers issued 7 verbal traffic warnings, 23 citations, and 40 written warnings. Officers also conducted 247 business checks. Also, I believe earlier today, Chief Blake included the 2018 MICSAP summary, which is our motor carrier safety. Summary, there were 72 motor carrier inspections completed by Officer Di 41 level 1s, 0 level 2s, and 31 level 3s. Of those 72 motor carrier inspections, there were 77 violations cited. 9 vehicles were placed out of service due to safety violations, which constituted the vehicles were too hazardous for highway use. And 1 driver was placed out of service. In other words, he was removed from his truck and not able to drive. And that concludes the report regarding the December 2018 calls.
Thank you, Tim. Sounds like there's energy there in regional police, too.
Oh, yeah, we've been busy.
A lot of good work.
Thanks, Chief, or, thanks to Tim. Thank you. All right, I'll make a motion to approve Tim's report as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor?
All right.
So agreed. Committee report, Commission Tax Collector. Good evening, Suzanne.
Good evening. I just want to let you know, obviously I haven't collected any money in January. Tax liens were settled the 4th of January down in Bucks County tax claim. So my books have cleared to 0. But I do want to note that I leaned a little less this year than I did last year, so that's a good sign.
Real good.
And I
Sounds like
collected-
there's energy there, every place.
collected
Thank
about
you.
98% of the tax roll.
Yeah, wow.
So it was a good year.
Okay.
So tax bills are going to be generated for March 1st, county and township tax bills, next round.
Good. Keep it coming.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thanks, Suzanne.
I'll make a motion to approve Suzanne's report.
Yeah, I'll second it.
All moved, all in favor?
Aye.
Engineers report, Mr. Baloo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do not have anything on my report tonight unless there's any questions.
Thank you.
I have none.
Nope. We're done.
I'll move a motion for.
Yep, I'll make a motion for
I'll
the
second.
report.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Solicitors report, Ms. Eberly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only item under the Solicitor's Report this evening is the approval of the resolution granting preliminary approval to the Katz subdivision on Ridge Valley Road. You heard from the Katz family at the last meeting. You reviewed the plan. You directed the preparation of a preliminary approval resolution. That's been done. It's been forwarded to the applicant, who has indicated that they are in agreement with the conditions set forth in the resolution. So if you are inclined to adopt it, you'd be looking at a motion to approve Resolution 2019-3.
I just would like to
Question.
make a correction on, I think it's Kratz.
Did I say Katz?
You
Yes,
said
you
Kratz.
said
I meant Kratz.
I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
same plan
sorry.
you were talking about.
Same plan,
Okay.
same plan.
And all the issues are resolved and agreed to, including
And it would be
fees.
2,000, it'd be 4. It's mislabeled on the agenda. The next resolution would be
Oh, it's 4?
It's 4.
Four.
And Greg and Steve, are you guys sure that we have good protection relative to the water issues in that area?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2019-04.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, thank you.
All right, I'll pass these
Good
down
job,
for
that was a
your
long haul in
signature.
that count.
Who's the Vice Chairman? Just to make sure I have it right.
Mhm.
That, I have nothing further under the solicitor's report.
Okay. Mr. Lippincott, you're on.
I'll make a motion, we approve the solicitor's
Oh,
report as
yes, I'm
presented.
sorry.
I'll second.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will go over the treasurer's report. The general fund has a total of $465,773.24. Highway aid has $80,194.31. Open space, $827,242.95. The park fund, $7,576.37. Equipment fund, $130.94. Highway capital, $126.43. The street light, $31,741.47. The reserve funds, the general fund reserve, $343,136.57. Open space Manderfield, $50,599. Sewage maintenance fund, $170,155.08. The stormwater fund, $5,410.41, and the escrow funds, $349,361.62. The board also has a copy and list of all the bills.
Okay,
Okay,
you guys have any questions on that?
I don't.
Nope. I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and payment of the bills subject to audit.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next item under the manager's report, we had a request from Percy Regional Authority to extend public sewer down Branch Road to 3 houses. I think Nick Fretz from PRA is here. I don't know if he wants to get up and speak on it. You also have the information in your packets.
Evening, eh?
Good evening, guys. Nick Press, Percy Regional Authority. We were requested by a few residents to extend public sewer on Branch Road, roughly 230 feet, to connect at least 2, potentially 3 customers to the public sewer system. One of the residents is here tonight in favor of us extending the service. They're trying to sell their house and are unable to with a failing sewer system. So the plan would be for the authority to extend this on the township road, which was recently paved, I believe, 4 years ago. So we would extend the sewer with the authority personnel doing all the labor and not charging any of the labor costs. So that would roughly cost about $38,000 to extend that about 230 feet, which would be split between the 3 homeowners, with the total cost being roughly $17,000 per house. So we would request that the board entertain a mandatory connection ordinance for those 3 properties along Branch Road, 2 of which have conveyed to us that they would like the service. 1 has not responded back.
Has there been any discussion with the one that didn't respond?
We've reached out to them numerous times and haven't gotten a response back.
And that situation, 2 units on one side,
And
the other
1
units on the other side.
Correct.
Can I recommend that we have our manager reach out to the person that did not respond to you and see what the situation is? You know, I personally hate to make someone go through we don't know what their situation is. You know, it's a lot of money. You were looking at about $16,000 property, right?
Correct.
That's a lot of money for a property owner to shell out if they don't have, or maybe there's a reason for it. I
Correct.
know that you said you reached out, but you haven't gotten a response back yet.
Correct, that's correct.
So before we move forward,
Totally agree.
our manager
agree.
should investigate the situation. The other question I had for you, if this were to go through, you would be responsible then to re-overlay the road there in that area, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And the majority of the cost of that $17,000 is the overlay of the street.
The overlay of the road.
Yeah, because the authority personnel will be installing the pipe.
Okay.
So the majority of that cost is just basically the overlaying of the street.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. You comfortable? You comfortable, Jim?
Yeah.
So we'll handle it that way. You
Yep.
and Greg will take care of the communications and with the criteria we set up, so,
Okay,
okay?
sounds good.
Thanks for
Thank
your
you.
presentation,
Okay,
Nick.
thank you.
Yep. Okay, next item on the agenda is old business. Do you gentlemen have any old business that needs to be discussed?
I have 2 items for old business. First, Allentown Road. There's been a lot of discussion about Allentown Road and the bridge, and we had reached out to PennDOT and asked them what they were going to do about the bridge. Chief Blake, after the last meeting, actually reached out to PennDOT again and said, "What's your plan for Allentown Road?" And he got back this email this week that said the study is complete. Said a restriction of trucks over 45 foot in length on Allentown Road from from the Bucks-Lehigh County border down to Ridge Road is approved. So there will be a restriction of trucks on Allentown Road between the northern end where it hits Lehigh and Bucks and down to the Ridge Road. No trucks over 45 feet. Signs will be installed as part of a small sign contract. So that's all we've heard.
That's some
from-
help.
That
That's
is
some help.
yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah, okay.
Congratulations, good.
All right, one other thing, at the last meeting, we had discussed cameras so that we could do our own recording and put that recording in archive. So we have a complete set. I know the township uses it. I got a big support from our Regional Police Department to do this. Having talked to the staff, I think there's a little bit more than that, because we do have Judy leaving, which is going to leave just Greg and Sherry here, and they're both in back offices. There's nobody going to be out in the lobby a lot. I think we should also consider two cameras, one for in here and one for out there. That'll give us a complete view of everything. There's other security things I want to talk about in new business, but I know at the last meeting, Don, you said you wanted to think about it some more, so here's the
Yeah,
opportunity. I would like to move forward with putting 2 cameras in. The cost would be less than $500 for both. What would happen was the meetings would be recorded, the front lobby would be recorded, that would all be stored on our server downstairs.
I'm not in favor of that. I'm not gonna support that.
Can I ask why?
Yes, because we have people here, citizens that tape our meetings here. We don't need to spend money to put cameras in to tape a
But we
meeting. here
cannot
from the set.
rely on the citizens always being
Why
here
not?
and getting a cup.
Well-
Well, the last 2 meetings.
But you have one going right there. You have
I
one
do,
going on,
yeah,
on the
because we
January
couldn't
meeting.
rely on the others. But I would rather the township did it and put that in archive and have it available for citizens so that they can see what occurred at the meetings. Like I said, I had support from the police on this too.
Yeah, I understand that. The perception could be, and I am concerned about this, as there are a lot of perceptions going on, that, so the township presents it, is it possible the township would be altering it?
Be
This
what? I'm
way,
sorry.
these are independents. They can do with it what they want. They have the privilege and the right to do that. What do they do with it is their choice.
That's true.
And so I think that's.
I want an official copy. I want an official copy on our server that every one of you can look at by just clicking on a link on the website. If you can't make it to the meeting, you can look there. I know that I've looked at these other 2 videos, and they're great videos, and sometimes they get 100 hits. And now that, to me, that says we should be doing it ourselves. We should have a complete copy of it, and it should be available for the township folks.
Well, we're going 100 years, we haven't had it. These people decide they want to do it, they do it. If they don't want to do it, they don't do it.
Okay, I have checked with other
I
townships.
haven't said yes or no, Jim.
Okay,
I mean, you had not mentioned the camera out front.
well, that could be a second.
That aspect of it may be worthwhile, primarily from the protection of our people. So, I want to think about it some more.
I know. All right, so there will be no
I
vote
didn't
on
say,
that.
oh, no, I said I want to think about it more.
Okay, I'm just saying, there'll be no vote on it tonight. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. All right. Those are my 2 items for old business.
Okay. Anybody else?
I don't have anything.
New business?
No.
Public comment?
We have new business.
Oh, I'm sorry, new business.
There was 2 things. I had put in the minutes, I asked Greg to put into the agenda, Park and Rec budgeting. Now that you're our new chair, Dave, in the past, throughout the year, I know that there's items that we've talked about a long time, but then all of a sudden it comes up to us and we're pulling money out of the general fund to fund things. And I would really like to see the Park and Rec come in by the end of the year telling us what they want for the following year, so that we can put all those items in
By September.
by September. Okay, so that we can put all those items in, and it's already budgeted, it's approved in the budget.
Okay.
The next year comes along, you do your work, Greg sees that it gets paid. It's so much cleaner that way, okay? All right, so that was my one item. The second thing is security. I mentioned that Judy will be leaving, and we need to secure this building more, I believe. We don't have, Greg is out on the road a lot. Sherry will be here trying to work in the back and trying to get people in the front. I think we need to do a couple things. I think we need to modify, first of all, the front of the lobby. And this is not something this is something I would like to have looked at for the next year. Modify the front of the lobby to make it ADA compatible. That front door is a disaster for anyone that's trying to come through it. I think we need to plan out how we're going to pay to have that door fixed so that you can get a wheelchair, a walker, or 2 people through it at the same time.
The entrance in general.
What's that?
The entrance in general.
The whole entrance, yes. I think we need to have that checked out. We need to have more security out there. If there's only one person in here, I know I've talked to the police department about this, about how we can secure that more so that the person in a back room knows that there's somebody out there and that person can't get any farther. I also know that if somebody's standing at the door that goes into the offices and you walk out from the back office, you can't see, or you hear somebody knocking on that door to enter, but you can't see it, right, Judy? I think.
Well, you could potentially have a person like me sitting there all day too,
Yes, true.
feeling not secure.
Right, exactly. And the other thing is that the back door is open because Suzanne's office is back there and people could even walk in through that way. So all of this has to be looked at.
That's not supposed to be open. That door's
Well,
not supposed to be open.
It isn't open. It's
It's
locked.
locked.
Okay.
It's locked, but somebody could break through that internal door.
There's-
Just so the board knows, I've noticed sweating on the glass. The glass is from 1977,
Yeah.
and it's never been replaced. I've started to get quotes. I haven't gotten the quotes back, but
Okay.
I noticed the sweating on the windows. So when I said, look at the entranceway too. So
Yeah.
I've been working on quotes.
Okay. There's been a couple of incidences in other townships within the past year where cameras were helpful, security was helpful, nothing, thank God, happened. But I really want to, I'd like to take an effort right now to start through this year so we can budget it for 2020, how we're going to make changes out front and just securing the building in general.
I understand that.
Yeah. And Tim, did you have anything you want to add to that, or?
No, I was talking to the chief about this, and quite frankly, every public building should have some type of camera system.
Yeah.
On the outside, at the entire entrance, everything.
Yeah.
One of the things about, a lot of the cameras that you can actually purchase, even, ours are high impact cameras.
Mhm.
So a lot of them are semi-bullet proof too.
Oh,
So even, not even so much for documentation purposes.
Yeah.
Let's say a meeting or something like that, evidentiary purposes.
Yeah.
For prosecutions down the road.
Right.
For the way we look at it.
yeah.
So, a lot of times a camera like that, it acts as a deterrent
Yeah.
to possible offenders or things like that too, just knowing that they're on camera. Like,
Yeah.
they're not getting away with this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously, cameras are the way to go. It's,
Yeah.
through
Okay.
2019, there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
So that's all I had. I'd just like to get that out so we can start planning that for this year, through the year. That's all I had for
Okay,
new business.
thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Now we're ready for public comment. Start back here and go around. Yes, ma'am.
Banis-Clemens, Thousand Acre Road. I have a 4-year-old son with Down syndrome. I have a 4-year-old son with Down syndrome, and he has early intervention services through the intermediate unit, and the district had to set up bus transportation for him. The transportation department came out and analyzed the route for my son to be picked up from with a van. When they analyzed the route, they said that they had no visibility, and so they wouldn't be able to pick my son up in a van because they wouldn't be able to see getting out of the driveway. So they told me that I would have to do one of two things: either put a mirror across the street or take out several trees, some of which are not on my property, and they are on my neighbor's property, but both options would be within the right-of-way. I had shared with them that there had been a mirror across the street at one time when I moved into my house. There had been one there. Over time, I guess it fell and broke. And so it would make sense to put one back. They encouraged me to reach out to the township regarding putting up that mirror. So I reached out to Mr. Lippincott regarding putting that mirror up across the street. He told me that the property owner would have to decide whether or not to put that mirror back, and it is Jim Miller's property, so he said that he would reach out to Jim Miller. In the meantime, the transportation department also reached out to Mr. Miller on 2 occasions, and not only did they not allow us to put the mirror back or respond to the district, they took out the tree the mirror actually used to be on. Then I reached out to Mr. Lippincott to let him know that they were not letting me put this, that we hadn't gotten this response. Mr. Lippincott suggested that I maybe move my driveway. So I guess the solution should be that I spend, I don't know, $30,000 to put in a new driveway, which would have to go over top of my underground septic system and to the opposite side of my house that has no doors or garage, and then, I don't know, maybe walk around to the other side. When I got that response, I realized, okay, it's not even worth responding, I might as well just move on. It was also made clear to me that I can buy a sign to deter people, but I would pay for the sign, and the township could install my sign in the right-of-way without a property owner's permission, but apparently I can't buy a mirror and have them install the mirror in the right-of-way without the property owner's permission. The mirror would actually allow a van to take my son out of my driveway and drive him to school. The sign would not give them that ability, and if people are already ignoring the sign, traffic signals with buses, why would they all of a sudden acknowledge a sign? So the school district solved the problem by sending a bus instead, so the bus could pick up my son in front of my house in the road. And that way they wouldn't have to pull in or out of my driveway. The only difference is, since my son is 4, he has to actually get buckled into his seat, which takes time, and people are impatient. And so the first day that my son had to ride the bus, as they were adjusting the buckles, getting him buckled into a seat, a vehicle was waiting behind the bus, started revving the engine because they didn't want to have to wait that long for the bus, and finally flew around the bus while my son was still being buckled and took off. I had no knowledge of who this person was, or what their vehicle looked like, or license plate number, so I had no way of doing anything about it. The police wouldn't have been able to look into it. Fast forward to last week, Mr. Miller is pulling out of his driveway. Well, first, so the bus comes to pick up my son, stops in front of the house, pulls out the stop sign, puts on the red lights. I'm walking towards the bus with my son. Mr. Miller starts to pull towards the end of his driveway, pulls directly behind the bus, turns his car towards the bus as if he's going to follow the bus. I guess gets impatient, decides he doesn't want to wait, turns his wheel in the other direction, and goes off in the other direction. Now, Mr. Miller is making the assumption that no one is coming in the other direction, or if they are, they're following the exact same traffic signals that he's ignoring. If someone was coming from the other direction and ignored those same traffic signals, there would have been an accident, okay?
I would like to comment.
I'm not done, please let me finish.
Okay.
So, or it's on a hard bend, the person, people can't see going around that bend, the bus is right there. If they're going around that hard bend and they don't see and they go through and you have no visibility where you just pulled out, which by the way is illegal, completely illegal to pull out and ignore bus signals, okay? That vehicle could have hit the bus, or it could have hit the bus, could have hit you because you would have pulled out and they wouldn't have seen you. It's dangerous.
Mrs. Clemens, I think we understand your story, and everybody gets 2 minutes, and you've exceeded 2 minutes. What I would suggest, we will discuss this and try to understand the whole picture.
I think I should be able to respond to this immediately since I have cameras
That's not
all
what I
over my
said,
house.
Jim. It's not what I said. Let me finish. If you want to comment, then let's comment, not in the middle of what somebody's saying. I think that's courteous to do that.
Her 2 minutes was up. First of all,
Yeah.
I'd like you to show me the letters that the school board sent to us to put up mirrors. We've not heard from the school board. So you show me copies of them.
I never said the school board. I said the
You said they
transportation
contacted us.
department.
Show me how they contacted us. I've never received contact from the school board. Never.
I never said the school board contacted you. That's
Isn't
all
that
I
what
said.
she said earlier?
I said the transportation.
Okay,
department.
transportation, I'm sorry, transportation never contacted me.
They said they contacted you twice. Greg Lippincott said he contacted you, so are you
Greg
saying
Lippincott did, and Greg
contacted you?
Lippincott said and I told Greg it should come through the school district.
And I told Mr. Lippincott to
And
let
you know
me
why
to
it has
say
to come
that
through the
you
school
were
district?
contacted
Will you let
twice.
me speak now,
I told
please?
Mr. Lippincott
Will you
to-
let me speak
That-
now, please?
That's one at a time.
You let me speak, please. Mr. Lippincott told you that the township does not put up mirrors. Therefore, I asked to have it come through the school district. The school district has never sent me anything. They've never contacted me. And if you're going to stand up there and lie about it,
Excuse me?
Yes.
I'm not lying.
I
I
am
have emails where they
Mrs.
specifically...
Banis-Clemens. I'm
They
sorry.
contacted you twice. I told Mr.
She won't let me
Lippincott
speak.
I have
Megan,
emails that
Megan.
they contacted him.
Shut
that-
it
Please,
shut it
Did I
off.
not tell you that they contacted
Megan.
him twice?
Shut it off, it's public
Stop.
comment.
Okay, Mrs. Banis-Clemens, I have a camera on my thing. I can show you exactly what I did. The police were out there. I think the police officer is right here, actually,
Hey.
who came out to the
It's
house.
public comment, done.
Let's,
No, it is not. Because,
is.
because this is harassment. After the meeting last year, and after what Mrs. Banis-Clemens did to my wife in front of the school board, and what is happening tonight, this is harassment.
Jim, I suggest all of you take it outside and figure it out. This is not a
You're
forum
going to
for having a
endanger a
debate.
bus full of kids.
No one
and you're gonna
endangered your child.
Both of you, stop.
I will
If you need to
gladly
have a-
show anyone the video who wants to
Take it
see it,
outside. Take it.
Jim,
and you'll
shut up.
see.
We're gonna have decorum in this room. And that doesn't include the supervisor get crazy because somebody makes a comment. The comment was right or wrong, I don't know. We gotta learn more about it. Appears to me Mr. Lippincott may be a source to start to look at. So if it's a problem, it's a problem. Everybody has to work together to fix it. It's the way this world turns. There ain't nothing done with this kind of crap going on. Does there anyone else have any more comments? That's not on the same subject. Yes, ma'am.
I am the one who's reevaluated the public sewer hookup. I've been...
I'm sorry, can I have your name?
Michelle Naldasher, 274 East Branch Road.
Hey, could you speak
spell
up
your
just a little
last
bit?
Naudascher. I
Thank you.
purchased the residence June of 2009 under the impression that public sewer was going through. I had documentation of projected projects. It was again revisited in 2014 when the road was going to be repaved. I and one other resident were very interested in this. However, nobody else on the street was. I worked full-time at the time, and I was down in Southampton, could not attend any of the meetings. I emailed numerous times with Nick about how this project was going to happen. Nobody else is interested. I am in the process of selling my home. In order for this to go through, I need this project done as soon as possible. Me and my neighbor are very interested. Him and his wife and 3 little ones. He tells me that their septic system cannot handle the amount the people in that home. So either way, however this goes, I'm just hoping that this project can go through as soon as possible. I am aware of the cost. He is aware of the cost, and just trying to get things moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lippincott, are you aware of conditions she's outlined?
Yes, it's the same as the PRA one.
Okay, you need to spend some time bringing us up to date on the details. Thank you very much, appreciate your comment. Ada?
Why, thank you. My comment concerns the historic, the building, the James building. I would like to know if this agreement does not go through, that is your decision to make between you and the Historical Society. What will you do with that house and barn? It's open to vandals. It's open to any kind of crime. There's no cameras, there's no security. I think the police, how often do you go through there, Jim, once a night?
Yeah, usually
Once a night. So if this agreement does not come to fruition, what do you intend to do with the building and barn? I think the residents need to understand where you're going with that. This township is run by paralysis through analysis. That's the mechanism. And that barn has been rotting there, that house is rotting there. So what do you, if this does not come to fruition, I hope it does. I hope the Historical Society and the township does, make an agreement. I think it's a very nice house. I would love to see it used. So what do you plan to do as chairman?
I think we
What
said
is the
earlier,
direction? Yeah.
number one, we've been back and forth for 6 to 11 years in different levels on this subject.
Okay, that's the analysis
Okay.
and the paralysis. What will you do if this all falls through?
We
What is your plan for that building and that barn?
We don't make instant plans. We don't define that tonight. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. First thing you do, you gotta figure out how to get the money to do it. And that may be a possibility, it may not be.
Okay, so again, paralysis through analysis. So there's no long-term plan for that building and that barn. So it's let it rot? Is that what you all are saying?
Can I interject for a minute?
Oh, thank you. I'd like an answer.
Yes,
Thank you.
because I will
Thank you.
give you a little bit of history, and the report is here on record for the folks to see, the township folks to see.
I
The
don't care about
barn,
the historical
the barn,
society.
right,
Okay.
the barn was supposed to be torn down 5 years ago.
Okay. So why
We
is
have
it-
we have a structural engineering report that says the barn could not be saved. What we did,
And you mandated it, yeah.
we did, so, and your husband was involved in this, by the way.
Yes, I understand that.
What we did to save the barn for a few folks that were interested in saving the barn, we went and we took some visits to other barns and helped
Did some work.
a committee, started a subcommittee of Save the Barn Committee to generate funds. And after numerous meetings, the committee changed their plan of what they wanted to do. Instead of just fixing the barn up, they wanted to create an event center. Well, when they were shown a list of hurdles that would have been accomplished, they decided, well, if all we're going to do is fix up the barn, it's a waste of our time. Now, we were told publicly at a meeting here 2 months ago that the township dismembered that committee. Nobody that I know of dismembered that committee.
No.
Did you dismember
No,
the committee,
no.
Jim? Okay, so as far as the barn goes, there was a committee that was researching fundraising to save the barn.
Right, agreed.
All along, while we have a structural engineer telling us we should have torn the barn down, which we also spent $10,000 or $11,000 to save the summer beam, just to preserve the barn so that it wouldn't fall apart. Okay? So the township has spent money already with the intent that someone wanted to save the barn, a committee. So you can't decide to spend money on something unless you have a use for it. You know that.
I know, Jay, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if there's no use for these buildings, will the township tear them down? I think it's just, I'm worried about the security issue.
Well, we were hoping not
With
to.
living in there, vandals in there.
We were
kids,
hoping not to do
drugs in
that.
there.
We were hoping not to tear them down because of the talk and the interest that has been taking place for the last 6 years. Now, what I think should happen, and I've made this very clear, is that we should have an intent, a letter from the Historical Society on what they want to do. And then the township has to decide, are we going to knock them down, are we going to let them go, are we going to secure them, make sure that they don't fall down?
Right.
And then, or put out RFPs for another potential buyer or someone that wants to take it over. Mary has given 3 examples of houses that in other townships that the historical societies have taken over for $1 a year, and they've created showpieces for their township. I don't understand why this has
Okay,
taken
but
6 years.
That's beyond the scope of my question. I'm
Well-
worried because the park is unsecured, it's not gated, there's police going through there once a night. There's 2 buildings there that can be quite a center for misbehavior.
We're aware of that.
I think the police are programmed to go through that whole park area every night for a purpose, 24/7 protection that they're employed for, so,
It's once a night.
beg pardon?
And there's no cameras. It's once at night, and there's no cameras. And it's an open park.
So you're saying they should be there all the
I
time?
don't care what you do. I'm asking you what you're gonna do with the buildings. Either fill it
It's still in
or tear
discussion.
it down.
Did you hear the earlier conversation? It's still in discussion.
Yes, I did. I did.
And
Yes.
Historical Society has an opportunity to come back to us and tell us what they're gonna do.
Okay, and one last thing. I really resent my husband Jim Miller, I'm his wife, not having an opportunity to respond to these very, very damaging, misleading, lying claims.
He responded with lying. He
This-
did, he responded.
Please,
We
Hey,
had-
please,
stop.
please.
Oh, my God. Please don't-
Yeah, it wasn't there.
Stop,
He
stop.
wasn't there, he couldn't see it.
Listen, we're gonna have a public meeting, and I'm gonna be present here. We're gonna keep it orderly, or citations will be issued. Please, okay? We can all speak, we're all adults here, we all take our turn. Everyone understands? Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate the echo. Somebody else had some questions.
In the back.
Lady in very back of the building.
Hi everyone, my name is Rapika. I'm actually not a resident. I'm from Philadelphia, here on behalf of the Clean Air Council, and we've been working on the Adelphia Pipeline Project. So there is a compressor station being built in your town. I'm sure most of you are aware of it, and its negative health impacts. So I just wanted to let you guys know that the regulatory agency overseeing the pipeline project has put out an environmental assessment. So I brought a handout about the environmental assessment and what it does, and basically it's insufficient for actually evaluating negative air impacts that would happen in your town.
We'd be more than happy to take a look at that. The supervisors have instructed the staff to prepare a response
Yeah,
to
that's
the EA,
basically
and any input you'd like to provide, we'll take a look at as part of that response.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make the residents aware that they also have the ability to comment on this too, so I wanted to give them the handout. So we just put together a bunch of talking points, because FERC requires that you address specific things from the environmental assessment, so we've gone through it and picked some things out that you guys can refer to, and obviously we urge township officials to comment on it too, because that makes a huge difference, so we're just trying to get that on the way. So if you have any questions.
the assessment is insufficient?
Yeah, if you have any questions about this in general, I can talk to you about it after the meeting, but I have handouts now, so if you're interested, like, I can give them to you, or I can come bring them up, like, whatever.
Why don't you bring them up and put them on the table,
Okay,
people
yeah.
can get them before they leave if they're interested.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're next.
Thank you. Christine Shelley, Whalen Road.
Please,
Right
please,
down the street from.
Please stand.
Stand. Right down the street from where we don't know that they're going to build it yet. I mean, we're still hoping, we're still holding on to our prayer of hope. I have 3 points, 2 questions and a point about that to make tonight. Yes, the EA is out. Yes, it is totally insufficient, filled with half-truths and many lies and many clouds. We need an environmental impact study. The window is still open. Get on FERC's website, register to become an intervener so that your comments will be heard about the EA. Make your comments, follow talking points. I can't wait to see.
Yeah, all the directions for like commenting and everything, it's all in the handout.
Great.
Put it to it, yeah.
So that's the first thing. I heard talk at the beginning of the meeting, we're working on an ordinance. We've been working on an ordinance. We've finished an ordinance. I know that it may not have an impact. I understand that. But after February 3rd, we can't go back. If they stamp it, if they approve it, we can't go back and write that ordinance. Are we going to write an ordinance so that we can at least try, so that we have something to go back to help us should we need it? Do we have an ordinance? Have we been working on one? I would like it part of public record that this is my 3rd request, and that other members of my community have also requested that an ordinance be written. Do we have one?
no, we not have official orders.
Are we working on one?
Let me finish. The public
Sorry.
committee is looking at that and what would be the way to accomplish that it would be effective. And the intent there is if we come up with that, we will present it to the board, and they will consider whether they want to take that action. So that's where it is right now.
Will it be completed in time before FERC says everything has been?
Oh, if we're going to do something, yeah. I hope
Okay.
it's going to be, yeah.
So-
I know I say
And a
this
stamp.
every time, and I know you say how
What's the
important you
time?
think it is to have an ordinance. When you say will it be completed in time, when they filed their application, it was already not completed in time. First of all, we can't enforce ordinances against an agency or an entity proceeding under a FERC project. Second of all, or people that file their applications prior to the adoption of an ordinance are what they call grandfathered. So, you seem so passionate about the ordinance from a legal standpoint. I think it's really important to go through the EA with a fine-tooth comb to ask for an EIS, to work real hard on those things. I don't agree with the efficiency of adopting an ordinance at this point.
Okay.
Definitely barn door horse is gone.
I understand what you're saying, but my research, and again, I'm getting caught up. They've had years and years to plan this out, to research it, to set into motion whatever they're doing. All I can do is the research that I'm doing. And my best understanding is that we still should try to put an ordinance in place before they stamp it, before they say go ahead. That is the information that I have. That whether or not it will help us, we don't know. We won't know until we get there. But that if we get there and they say, well, did your township write an ordinance? If we don't have one, then we don't have one.
And it's very
my understanding.
No, I do understand I do understand what you're saying, because the FERC rules are that they have to try their best to comply with ordinances. So, but if an ordinance is adopted after an application is received and going through the review process, FERC's not gonna pay attention to that.
Okay, then let's put that aside. I have one last question. Has the township been approached by Adelphia regarding any variances and special
Exceptions.
Thank you,
Yeah.
special exceptions regarding the zoning?
No. Craig, you want?
No. They said that they're not gonna come before the township.
I'm sorry, what was that?
They're not gonna come before the township. We ask them all the time, will you come before our planning commission? Will you
Right.
come before the board of supervisors?
But they
Will you have a public meeting?
They've made no.
And they said, no, they will not. They'll meet
Okay.
with people individually, but they will not have a public meeting.
Okay, but they've made no indication that they will be asking for a special
A
exception?
variance or a special exception, that's relief from the existing zoning
Yes,
ordinance.
yes.
And given that their position has steadfastly been that they are not required to comply with our zoning ordinances, I would be surprised if they were planning on
Okay.
doing a variance or
Okay.
special exception.
I was just curious, I wanted to see. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Two. Any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
Shirley Mann, Rich Hill Road. Has the township asked for an environmental impact study on this
Yes,
compressor station?
yes,
You have?
yes.
Has anything come from that? Any response at all?
As I recall, there's a little report they put out, but it wasn't any conclusion of the things that they were going to be looking at, but no official.
Yeah, they can do,
Have they done anything?
they've done the EA, but what we would like them to do is an EIS, which is a lot more detailed study and addresses the impacts on the neighboring properties with a lot more detail and specificity. So yes, we have asked for an EIS. Our response to the EA will be to ask for an EIS. We will continue to ask for an EIS. I can't tell you whether that will be successful or not. We're going to try.
Okay, good, thank you. And I do agree with Mr. Duvall. Adelphia is just not a very nice company at all. Recently, the Bucks County Herald newspaper article had last year in review, and it says that we're not the only people that are fighting that Adelphia company. Springfield is also. They wrote a little thing here, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission denies Adelphia's request to throw out Springfield Township's motion to intervene in a proposed pipeline project. FERC's move preserves the township's right to appeal any decisions to the U.S. Court of Appeals. So Adelphia even wants Springfield not to be able to intervene. What kind of a company does that? Not very, very nice.
That's an easy conclusion.
Terrible. The letter we received January the 10th, I did, and I'm sure a lot of the neighbors did. We're allowed to respond by February 3 at 5 o'clock. So I am going to write a letter because I don't have a computer, and I'm hoping that this compressor station does not get built. However, I'm going to request that they do, if they get approved, that they go to electric instead of gas-fired compressors. The FERC handbook says on page 20 and 21, if they go to electric, there won't be these pollutants that will affect our lives and the cancers that would come from that. But they want to gas fire it because they're too greedy. They have to have their money, the almighty dollar. It's not right. They should be required to change that to electric and just spend the money to do that so that we can live our lives with a future. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. By the way, our group agrees with that approach, and that's been our push all along. Any conversation we have is to go to electric. I talked to a gentleman today who's involved in the edges of one that's already operating up in Columbia County, and I talked to them about noise and that type of thing, and they experience very little. Well, there's the deal that Adelphia wants to do. They got the gas; they don't have to buy that. Where electric, they're going to pay for electric, but it can have, we believe, a sizable effect on the environment.
They're just greedy.
Okay. Any more questions? Comments, I'm sorry. Mr. Collingwood.
David Collins, 14 Bar Road. I just want to make a comment, actually two. I find it interesting that when it comes to the James House, the decisions that have to be made there, and I'm not going to belabor this point. Mr. Kaiser put it on the Historical Society as they're the fault. They're the problem. And then when it comes to Save the Barn Committee, it was the committee's problem. He's putting it on them. And I want to say about the committee, I was on that committee. Karina Rilling was on that committee, and Jim Miller was on that committee. And when Jim Miller got elected as supervisor, we went out and we came to the board, Karina and I did, with Jason Stonebeck. And we wanted him on the committee with us to save the barn. Because he's really into barns and saving them and having a purpose for it. You guys wouldn't even recognize us. We did go out and we did raise $5,000, which we returned, because we got no support from the board. And as far as the committee coming up with this idea of making it a convention center or a community center and just not saving the barn, that idea came in writing from Don DeBow, not from the committee. Thank you.
Yeah, somebody asked, what could you do with it? I suggest that's something you could do with it. I didn't say you would do it, you could. I've seen it happen in other places, so you gotta go out and get the money.
Done?
Any more comments? If not, attend a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Been moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yep.
Plenty of discussion.
Now, the policy